Hello, everybody. Ryan.
Hello. Welcome, everyone, to Thursday, the 21st of July, 2022. It's such a privilege to be here with everybody tonight. And we've got some exciting things to talk about today in our journey of self-discovery. But before I get started, I would like to just make an announcement. So My Rehab Cafe, private and unsearchable or secret Facebook group, is the aftercare branch of the My Rehab Group of Dual Diagnosis Addiction Centers, or ARC, as it's formerly known as. My Rehab Centers are private inpatient drug and alcohol rehab centers that offer high-quality healthcare with high-quality outcomes. My Rehab Cafe Facebook group has exclusive access to loads of content that isn't available on any of the My Rehab public channels. Some of the content includes workshops, lectures, and support groups hosted in conjunction with some of the treating providers at My Rehab inpatient centers. These treating providers are psychologists, social workers, wellness counselors, and volunteers who have extensive experience in the field. Group members also participate in movie and book review and, from time to time, face-to-face events. If you aren't a member of the My Rehab Cafe, you are likely watching this on the public channel. This means that you'll have 10 to 20 minutes of access to this live broadcast before we switch over exclusively to the private and unsearchable My Rehab Cafe Facebook group. Remember to sign in and join the My Rehab Cafe guys, as this is where the interesting part of the live video happens. My Rehab Cafe is free to any person that has brought the My Rehab has gone through the My Rehab inpatient process. If you haven't been through the inpatient process, but you want to find out how to join My Rehab Cafe, please check out the My Rehab Cafe website, which is www.myrehab.com. If you want to participate in this workshop, please join via video or audio via the link in the comment section, or leave a comment and I should be able to bring it on screen, and my guests and I can see what we can do about answering any questions that you have. If you are a My Rehab Cafe member and you want a higher degree of anonymity, and confidentiality, wait for us to end the broadcast on the public channel before hopping on or posting. I'll make an announcement when we're about to switch over. With that, let's get started. So tonight, we have an interesting topic that we would like to discuss. I want to bring to the table, and that is called self-rejection and self-acceptance. It's a big one. Hey, Bobby.
Oh, hello, Theo. How are you doing?
Fine, thanks, and you. Welcome.
I'm doing very, very, very good. I think I have a little bit of. I had COVID about 14 days ago. I think I still have a little bit of long COVID, so it might sound like I have a little head cold or something like that. And I'm sorry for that, but it's really great to be here. I'm going to step over and get a book that I had, because these topics that you're talking about, I've seen in one of the books that I've been kind of reading. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to do that yet. Let's just get into it. I'm very interested in the topics that you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, so the topic for tonight is self-rejection and self-acceptance. Okay, and what I want to share tonight is something that I'm bringing from my own personal experience. My journey of having been caught in the cycle and the trap of addiction for over a decade led me to a place of hopelessness, feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling worthless. And in my journey of self-discovery, there are certain concepts and certain groups and certain things that I learned along the way. And I decided in that journey to document those things. And what I have in front of me, and if you're wondering why I keep looking away from the camera, is that I'm actually looking at a presentation of where I've put together some of these things that I've learned along the way that have helped me, that worked for me. And so I'm not saying just listen to what I'm saying. Do your own research. Research what I'm saying. Go and find out for yourself. All I'm doing is I'm sharing my journey, what worked for me, and in hope it might give you something to hold on to in a time of great uncertainty. So, without further ado, here we go. So, self-rejection and self-acceptance. So, those are quite big concepts. Okay, with self-rejection, it's quite self-explanatory. And when we're in our journey of recovery, we get brought into a place where we learn how to accept ourselves. And we often hear that phrase of accepting ourselves. So how do we know if we carry this thing called self-rejection? Because unless we know where we are, how do we know where we're going? So this is something that came up in the discussion and in my rehab cafe. I think it was last night. It's about acknowledging where you are and being real and honest about that. And I understood what Ryan was trying to get across, is that if we don't know our location, we won't know our destination. And sometimes we can be chasing after a destination, but we don't seem to ever arrive because we're not acknowledging where we're coming from. And so one of the concepts that helped me understand where I'm coming from or where my location was is acknowledging the areas of my own life where I'm actually rejecting myself, or I have a self-love deficit. And actually, it goes as far as to say I'm actually rejecting myself. Okay, and this is going to unfold as I unpack this for you. So certain things that you're going to notice or wonder about is do you struggle relating to people? You know, have you ever felt like something is just wrong? It's just not lining up. You just neither fitting in or you can't put your finger on it, right? Do you find yourself constantly feeling weary, tired, angry, sad, or frustrated, or in some kind of uncertain power struggle? Okay. Do you suffer from perhaps trauma brought on by bullying, rejection, emotional or physical abuse? In fact, all or many forms of unconscious behavior, our projections, how we minimize issues in our life, or how we maximize and blow it out of proportion, are fueled by our state of self-rejection. Every one of us rejects or hates some aspect of ourselves, often without even knowing it. Self-rejection is actually, and do your own research, self-rejection is actually one of the most universal and least recognized disorders in our lives, in this world. And it contributes substantially to the significant social problems that we face as a society. Another way you can look at it is unresolved subconscious trauma. We have all at some stage been affected by friends, caretakers, loved ones who have contributed towards our own self-rejection. And there have been times where we have contributed towards somebody else's self-rejection. Either way, at some point, we will encounter physical or psychological trauma caused by, and I spoke about this a couple of weeks back, these interruptions that come in and interrupt our connection with people, interrupt our development, such as divorce, toxic family systems, rejection, bullying, gender-based violence, etc., etc., will be a part of our lives and have an effect on us for the rest of our lives. Even those of us who are fortunate enough to have had a reasonably good life, well parented, and to be self-rejection directly impacts how we establish and maintain healthy relationships. The question isn't actually whether self-rejection is a factor in our lives. The question of the hour is how much of a factor is it, and how well can we recognize it and deal with it in our own lives? The lengths of fights, when we fight, when we argue, the length of how long we stay angry with one another, how we withdraw into ourselves and isolate, the length of time we isolate for, the lengths of degrees that we go towards deceiving or deception, how hurt we become, the level of pain that we feel, how emotionally compromised we become, are all clues to the proportion of self-rejection we carry. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
It takes a cognitive shift for most people to understand that almost all negative behavior is a result of a psychological injury of some sort. Being quick to anger or excessively self-absorbed is more often a symptom of an unhealed psychological wound rather than a character defect. And Bobby, you'll know, we've all had our rodeo with the 12 steps, and this concept of character defects come into play. And when I faced this concept of character defects, if I wasn't careful, or if I was vulnerable, I would honestly walk away believing that I'm defective in my character. When in fact, if we do a little bit more research and we look into character defects, and we realize it's actually connected to an unhealed psychological injury, then we get to move in the right direction, I believe. Bobby, do you have any thoughts so far coming up?
Oh, Theo, let me see. Am I plugged in here? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, everything that you just said is actually not to take away from your experience, because your experience
Yeah.
is so similar to so many other millions of people out there in the world. And anyone that's done some research into, let's say I use the word shadow work. Now,
Yes.
you're familiar with shadow work, right? Because
Yeah.
that's actually what you're talking about, but it's a different word.
Yes.
Okay. So what I've noticed throughout many years is that we use different words for the same thing,
Yes.
and people kind of like will take it and say this is this is that, when it's all the same, really.
Yeah.
Even if we go a little deeper into, say, let's just say Eckhart Tolle
Yes.
in The Power of Now,
Yeah.
when he talks about the pain body.
Yes.
Okay, so when I listen to Theo, a lot of things come up from different, I'll call them teachers, because I believe we're all teachers and students at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm here, I'm listening to Theo.
Yeah.
I am learning some things are being brought up
Yeah.
and realized and uh, becoming conscious. Not that they were subconscious or unconscious. It's just that I'm becoming aware of it because Theo is talking about it.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, and I agree. When we do shadow work, it's that's with self discovery, self analysis, self help, all the different words or language that we use from different teachers all around, uh, going back
Yes.
centuries. Okay,
Yes.
going back centuries. Even Buddha talked
Yeah.
about that we are the creator or the cause. If we look in the mirror, we can be the solution or the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So when Tio's talking, I kind of like to I like it because I'm not looking at character defects as my identity as something wrong.
Yes.
I'm looking at it as an opportunity
Yes.
to go deeper and uncover, recover, and discover new things about myself. So
Yes.
it's like something beautiful.
Yes.
It's not, and it's an integration between, let's say, the dark and the light side of us.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so Tio can relate to a lot of these things. I'll just listen some more, Tio, and I'll jump in when you'd like me to jump in.
So we're about to move into the private My Rehab Cafe group. And if you want to know more, go to myrehabcafe.com and myrehabcafe.co.za. Okay. Are we back?
We're here. Okay, so I thought that was very beautiful, and then and I'll just be here. Oh, okay, go ahead. Is Ryan